for B. 10.2 times the sine of 49 over the sine of 58. And we're just going to go to the calculator and put that all in. Now you've got to be careful putting this in your calculator because people get this all the way to here. This is why you have to show me all the work too, because you might just mess up putting your calculator and then you don't want to get no credit for something. All right, so I'm going to show you the wrong way to do it, and I'll let you see that it's the wrong answer. Here's what I'm going to put, 10.2. Now I can hit times, but I don't have to. I'm not going to. If I just hit sine of 49, my calculator knows that's multiplication. And I got to divide that by the sine of 58. Now make sure your calculator's in degree mode, which it is, so I'm good here. And there's B. Problem is that's the wrong answer. And the reason it's the wrong answer is right there, when I put the sine of 49, I never close the parentheses. If you're ever doing anything after an angle and trig, you have to close the parentheses. So let me show you the difference. 10.2 times the sine of 49, close the parenthesis, and now divided by the sine of 58. Different answer. Now these aren't too bad. These are close. Sometimes you might get an answer that doesn't even make sense, like a negative. In this case, they're pretty close, but we don't want to get the answer wrong. We're going to round it to 1 decimal point. That's going to be 9.1. Okay, so there we go, 9.1. Now, you are not done. You have one answer left. Because remember, I'm going to start you off with 3. You have to find the other 3. So now I've got to do the law of sines again to find little c. I'm going to do the same exact thing I did right here, but now I'm going to use my c's. Now I'm always going to use my a's. My a's are my go-to. That's my golden ratio. So I'm just doing the same exact thing again. I'm going to say the sine of angle A, which is 58, over little a, 10.2, equals the sine of angle C, 73, over little c. And it's really exactly the same thing you just did here. You're going to cross multiply, then you're going to get little c by itself. So this multiplies up and goes in front of that. So this multiplication first. So that gives me c times the sine of 58 equals, now I'm going to multiply these two. The 10.2 goes in front. So you're exactly where you were right here. Now you're going to do exactly the same thing you did over here. To get little c by itself, I got to divide that away. So divide by the sine of 58 on both sides. That cancels. And c will be equal to whatever 10.2 times the sine of 73 divided by the sine of 58 is. And now we just go to the calculator, and again, be careful that you don't put it in wrong. So what do we got here? Let's see. 10.2 times the sine of 73. I'm going to end the parenthesis, divided by the sine of 58, and that is the final answer, 11.5. Put that up here. And now you've completed the triangle. You had 3 to start with, you found the other 3, and that's going to be what your final answer looks like. Now, I just want to show you if we had put it wrong in the calculator, 10.2 times the sine of 73, say you forgot to end the parenthesis, divided by the sine of 58. Again, you get a similar answer. It's close, but not close enough that we're going to get credit. All right, that's one problem. There's only 2 types of problems. That's one of them. Okay, here's the second type. Another one coming up. Still law of sines. Law of cosines is an entirely different world. It's definitely much more difficult. All right, so same deal. You got triangle ABC. We're going to complete it. I'm not going to rewrite that. I'm just going to give you the info. So angle B is 41 degrees. Little b is 8.7. And little c is 11.9. So like I said before, I expect you guys to draw the triangle every single time. If you don't, I'm going to make you go do it over again and draw the triangle. So we got triangle A, B, C. Putting our measurements in. Angle B is 41. Little b is across from angle B, 8.7. Little c is across from angle C, So that would be 11.9. Don't put that as an angle. It doesn't have an angle sign, so that's a side. Okay. Remember, to do the law of sines, you have to have that golden ratio. So do I have both A's? No, I don't have any A's at all. But I do have both B's. So that's going to be the golden ratio. That's going to be the one I use. So I'm going to say the sine of angle B, 41, over little b, 8.7, equals, and in this problem, I don't have a choice of what I'm going to do. I use these two. The only other measurement I have left is 11.9. So I'm doing C's right now because I don't have big C, but I got little c. So I'm looking at the sine of angle C. I don't know, so I'm going to put a C there, over little c. Okay, first thing, recognize what you're solving for. You are solving for an angle, not a side. That will solve entirely different than when you're solving for a side. Not initially. You're going to cross multiply just like you did before. So I'm going to cross multiply, and I'm going to say, this times this. So that is 8.7 times the sine of angle C equals this times this. 11.9 times the sine of 41. Now, I've got to get big C by itself, which means I got to get rid of the 8.7 and I got to get rid of the word sine. I can't do both of those at the same time. So the first thing I'm going to do is divide by 8.7 because that's being multiplied. They cancel. I have the sine of angle C equals 11.9 times the sine of 41 over 8.7. Now, please don't go putting this in your calculator. You did not solve for C yet. You have the sine of angle C equals this. Now, this goes back to like when we learned SOHCAHTOA, when we learned about solving right triangles. If you're going to solve for an angle, you're going to do that one way. You're going to use the inverse. So anytime the angle is the unknown, you're going to have to use the inverse button. So I'm going to put this on the other side as its inverse. So now here's what I have. So that's now C. I'm going to put an angle C there so we don't get confused. That's angle C by itself. Sine is going on the other side is inverse sine. Sine -1 of all this. And that's what you're going to put in your calculator. So this is another one where you got to be careful that you put it in the calculator correctly. So I know inverse sine is second sine. So second and then sine gives you sine to the -1. So that's your inverse sine. Let me move this a little bit and zoom in. Okay. Once I get that, now I just got to fit all this exactly how it is. 11.9 times the sine of 41 and the parentheses, or you're going to get it wrong, divided by 8.7. If you put all that in your calculator right, you're going to get how big angle C is, which is 63.8 degrees. 63.8. So that is your angle C. Putting it up here in this. And there we go. Now, this is another one. If you put it in wrong, you might get an angle that doesn't make sense, or you might get something that does. Let's try and find out. So inverse